GA Sports back in here with the NBA 2023 NBA season's predictions. Who's the champion for the season coming up, man? This is a great time to be a sports fan. I know bread and circus, but let's have a little bit of fun here. As you know, we moved CGA Sports over to CGA Got Game. CGA Sports was demonetized late last night. So we are over here and we're going to continue to bring the sports and all of that over here until further notice. So if you subscribe to CGA Sports, go ahead and subscribe to CGA Got Game. We'll play games and we'll do a whole bunch of it over here and we'll do it live. All right. I know we got a lot of NBA fans in here and you might want to know who and where your teams are going to finish up, who you should be putting your money on if you want to put your money where your mouth is and all of that in the bag of chips ahoy. So we're going to get right down to it like we did the NFL preview where we give you right up top, we give you the teams that are the bottom four teams, the worst teams in the NBA. Hopefully you got some season tickets that you can sell to them. Maybe you can go see a good team on a bad night for that team if they were in town. We're going to give you the bottom four. We're going to give you the teams that are already disqualified. So grab your popcorn over there. Then we'll give you the contenders. I'm sorry, the pretenders, the pretenders, the contenders, and then we'll give you the final two teams, the teams that will be playing in the NBA finals in the building. Anyway, let's get right into it. Without further ado, do me a favor, hit the like button, and we'll get it down here. And we'll start with the teams that are the four worst teams, the bottom four teams in the NBA. And they're going to be these teams right here. These teams have absolutely no chance in hell. And I hope if you were a fan, I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be heartbreak city for you right here. We're going to start off with the Washington Wizards. Well, you know, they don't have much to work with for the most part. And I think they're probably going to be the worst team going in there. They don't have very much leadership. And the way they run that organization is absolute disaster. It's comical. And they've been that way for ever since I was a young boy. The Washington franchise has not been a good basketball team. In fact, they might have only made the playoffs a handful of times since I was a youngin', but shout out to Michael Adams back in the day with the double clutch 3-pointer, lefty style, I believe. And they got a host of players that have been good players over there to watch. They've been an interesting franchise. You had Chris Webber over there for a little bit with Juwan Howard. They were done. Nothing was going to happen over there. You know, you had John Paul Wall in the building and their surrounding crew. Nothing much got done. Bradley Beal and John Wall. Yeah, what is this franchise? There's nothing going to be happening over there. You had Agent Zero. You had Agent Zero over there for a long time. You had them pulling out. Didn't they pull out the skitty pop, pop, pop in the locker room? I think that was him. Wasn't they gambling and shooting dice and doing the skitty pop, pop and a boom, boom, brr, boom, all in the locker room? Gilbert Arenas. Yes, that was them. All right, that was them. Washington, what do you expect from this franchise? They're not going to be any good. The Detroit Pistons, all right, the Detroit Detroit Pistons. I hope you get a good season from the Lions this year because the Pistons are going to be bad. The Portland Trail Gangsters or the Portland Jailblazers, not going down over there. I feel bad for Chauncey Billups. They should have let that WNBA lady, Becky Hammond, coach them. They should have let them coach them because Chauncey Billups is about to take L's. They cleaned house with that franchise. Who's their best player? Ayton. Oh my goodness. All right, Ayton is their best player. Oh my goodness. Oh, the humanity. This is gonna be a bad season for the Portland Trail Gangsters. So buckle up your seatbelt. I got the Memphis Grizzle. The Memphis Grizzle. They just lost Sam Adams ass ninja. I call people the wrong name. They lost Steven Adams for the season. I mean, not many times you can lose a Geico Neanderthal. All right, right in the middle of the season, right at the beginning of the season, and think you're going to do anything. You don't have Dylan Brooks. You don't have skitty pop, 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 and a boom, boom, brr, boom, John Morant. You don't got skitty pop, pop, John Morant out there for at least, 50 some odd games? Yikes. All right, yikes. So these teams are just going to struggle. They're going to languish. They're going to labor. I just don't expect much out of them. So anyway. Yeah, Ayton looked like Greg Oden out there. I was like, who is that out there playing? That's DeAndre Ayton. That's their guy. Oh, boy. Yeah, I think John Morant is he had a 50-something game suspension, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, something like that. And I think much of it was last year. Okay, can't remember. But doesn't matter. All right. Steven Adams is out for the year too. Yeah, just all right. So what do we got here? Those are the bottom four teams. Let's give you the automatically disqualified teams. Teams that you might think make the playoffs. Maybe they make the play-in game. Maybe they compete to make the play-in game. One or two of these teams will make the play-in game. But other than that, you and I might not win. Any of these teams are not going to win more than 38 games. 38 games. Now, the Eastern Conference, 38 games could get you in the playoffs. 38 games could get you in the playoffs. But these teams ain't going to win more than 38 games. And there may be a surprise in here. But let's just start off with the Houston Rockets. Now, I could have put them in the bottom four, but I only have 4 slots. I tried to even it up, 2 from the East, 2 from the West. But just literally, the Houston Rockets could be in the league all by themselves as the worst team. But you got the old Ime Udoka over there coaching them up. So maybe, just maybe, with the distraction of Kevin Thomas, what is his name? Maybe Ime Udoka can coach him up. Maybe Ime Udoka can coach him up and maybe get him in the play-in game. You know what I mean? He's a great coach. And he's going to be disappointed because his team might be in the finals this year. All right, but his old team, not his new team. Coach Clapcheeks, yes. All right, so, but other than that, they're going to be garbage. The Toronto Raptors, I mean, who do they got? They got some pretty good players that were left over from when your boy over there, Kawhi Leonard took them to the final. They still left over. They still eating off that championship. Shout out to the OVO. Shout out, Shout out to the Six. Is that what they call it? The OVO. They still eating off that championship. The coach ain't even there no more, if I'm not mistaken. All right. All the players got fat contracts. They over there getting fat. All right. They ain't going to do nothing. Toronto Raptors gone. Brooklyn Nets. I mean, who do the Brooklyn Nets have that's going to do something, make some noise? You guys got to remember the NBA season is super duper long. It's one of the most grueling seasons that people can put on their body. That's why a lot of people are wondering about these, when they sit the players out and they do all of these rehabs. Yeah, I don't think the Brooklyn Nets have enough depth to participate. They do have and I actually saw them this preseason already. I saw them live in Las Vegas. They played the Lakers. And, they got some players. I mean, they got the guy from the player that stands out for me for the Nets is the guy. He used to play for the Phoenix Suns. He got traded over there. Mikal Bridges, I believe his name is. I might got it wrong. Is it Bridges? Yeah. He's their solid player, but he's not going to do it night in and night out for them. So that's that for them. The Atlanta Hawks, yeah, Mikal Bridges and Spencer Dinwiddie. And they also have the big rebounder in the middle, Ben Simmons. I did see him play. They don't have enough. I'm not going to depend on Ben Simmons. I did see him. I'm going to tell you, man, he's an impressive athlete. Physically, he's an impressive athlete. And, when he's 6'9", he got guard skills. But, yeah, he just doesn't play like he want to be out there. He don't play like he want to be out there. So the Nets don't have enough. They probably going to get a play-in, maybe a 13th in. He said that's waste of 6'9". I know, man. And I hate to say this because people take it wrong. They're going to say pause. He's a beautiful athlete. Like to be 6'9" and move like that and have those skills, but he just don't have the killer instinct. Yeah, he lacked intestinal fortitude and mental fortitude, apparently. So don't expect anything from this team. If you're waiting for Ben Simmons to lead you to the promised land, you can forget it. I think he got his money. And he mailing it in this year. Atlanta Hawks. Yeah, he's the Atlanta Hawks. I thought they were going to trade Trey. They're not going to trade him. He's going to languish another year in Atlanta. They might want to trade him because they're terrible over there in Atlanta. All right, they need to trade Trey Young. I mean, because he's really only the biggest piece that they got over there. And so the Atlanta Hawks are nothing. The Minnesota Timberwolves, people always expect big things from them. Their leading player, big man in the middle, very, very good big man, great touch around the basket. He's a little bit of a softy. He has a softy heart. He's like is he a millennial or a Gen Z? He plays like a Gen Z or maybe a Zennial. All right, a Zennial. I don't think he has it to be able to lead a team like that. And you can't lead from the middle like that. But you do have Anthony Edwards. You do have some pieces. You got some pieces. They're going to be exciting. You're going to see Anthony Edwards do some fantastic things. But yeah, Karl Anthony Towns, fantastic athlete, great touch around the basket. Yeah, I just don't see him leading the team anywhere. And he wants it so bad. I don't think he wants it bad enough, though. But I wish him the best. Minnesota Timberwolves, he said the kitten. Minnesota Timberwolves, no bueno. No bueno. Anthony Edwards, though, maybe he'll go to another team and he'll be great. But again, his maturity, he's not ready for a grueling season mentally to lead a team to the playoffs. I don't think he has that in him, but he's going to be a great athlete. Oklahoma City Thunder could be a team to watch. They could sneak in the playoffs, not the top 8 seeds. But we finally get to see, their number 1 draft pick out here, that guy from Gonzaga. We finally get to see him, and he looks good. But let me tell you, man, these bodies ain't built to go 82 games plus a couple of 5-game, 7-game series plus play-in. Some of these bodies built like toothpicks, all right, and popsicle sticks out here. I don't think these guys gonna make it a whole season, bruh. And I don't wish nothing on nobody, but some of these people, man, you don't know what your body's gonna go through playing basketball every day like this at a high level. And the NBA is just one of those things. They got double headers. They shorten it up. Plus, they're threatening them for sitting out, right? They're like, nah, you can't sit out. You can't sit out national television games. You can't sit out back-to-backs. Double head, ninja, please. And then they making sure they don't sit out so many games. They want to fine them if you sit out certain many games. Oh, my Lord. I mean, the NBA is grueling. And some of these bodies got to be prepared to get through these games. So they do have some young talent. They got one of the better players, better guards in the league, which he goes by, is it SGA? SGA is his name. You know me with names. I'm bad with names. So don't think I don't know what I'm talking about. But you know who I'm talking about. He's a great player, man. He's fantastic. Again, though, is he a leader? Is he going to lead you to a championship or a playoff run? I don't know. He going to get his buckets, though. He going to get his points. Look at me with the names. Hold on for a second. I'll look it up. So you guys don't know who I'm talking about here. He played for Kentucky. I think he played for Kentucky. Let me see. His name is SGA, I'll call him. That's what I'll call him. Yeah. You know who I'm talking about. I call him SGA. He's a fantastic player. He should be an all-star, in my opinion. And so I think he's their leader. He's going to be their leader for the most part, if I'm not mistaken. They got Chet Holmgren coming in there. They don't have enough. They ain't got enough players. All right. If that's who they bring into the party, oh, hell no. All right. Who else they got? Oh, Lord have mercy. These teams, okay, they ain't making it to the playoffs. Okay. He was an all-star last year. And so he's a good man. That man can play some basketball. And I think I see him in person. One game last year, and he was killing it. By the way, he played for the Clippers, I think, a year or so. Maybe about 2 years ago, he played for the Clippers for a little bit. Great talent. Yeah, great talent, man. So anyway, but other than that, they're out. Who else is out? New Orleans Pelicans. Bye-bye. First of all, New Orleans Pelicans, they're lucky they got through what they got through. Mad controversy this year. And Zion Williamson is back. He's playing like a beast, like he normally does in the first couple of weeks of the basketball season. But you got to watch them. You just don't know what's going to happen to the New Orleans Pelicans. You don't know what Zion's going to do. You don't know what Zion's going to do. It's just, is he going to make it the entire season? I see him still playing physically around the rim. He seems to be in good shape. He's supposed to be your franchise player. They could have traded him. They held on to him. He wanted to stay in New Orleans. You don't know if any clap cheek girls are out there. You don't know what's going on here. I just don't see New Orleans. Did he marry that strag? I don't think he did. But I don't see New Orleans turning it around. Let me see what they got here. New Orleans Pelicans. Let's see what they looking at here. Who's their top? They got Zion. Oh, Brandon Ingram. It's about time to give it up. Brandon Ingram, about time to give it up on him in terms of him being a potential player. He's solid, but I don't think he's going to be the one to turn it around, as you know. He's going to give you whatever he gives you. He making $33 million a year. Brandon Ingram, you got CJ McCollum over there. He's going to be a solid player, way overpaid, 35 milli over there. Who else you got right there? Zion, Cody Zeller. You have Larry Nance Jr. Forget about it. Forget it. I mean, this team is not. I mean, listen, you would hope that Zion makes it. What, 50 plus games? What's the over and under he makes it this year? 50? Yeah. CJ McCollum solid, but yeah, somebody said CJ McCollum got that bag.
Gotta get my bag and run.
I mean, this is his third team in about as many seasons. So I just think that I just don't think that that's what you're going to depend on in terms of talent wise. And he's their number 3 player. And definitely his number 3 paid player. Oh, that team ain't built for a long season. Oh, no, it is not. No, it is not. Nope, not the New Orleans Pelicans. So forget about it. Who else is it? Charlotte Hornets. They had some promise. They have some promise, but, I just don't see them doing anything. Let me see something here. Let me pull up some rosters for the Charlotte Hornets just so I can give them a favorable. Let me pull up the Charlotte Hornets roster and see what they got. All right, we all know what they got over there. They got the hold on for a second. Where's the Charlotte Hornets? Before I disqualify them, let me give it a chance to look at that roster. All right, so you got LaMelo Ball. All right. You got LaMelo Ball. You got LaMelo Ball. You got, Terry Rozier over there. All right, Terry. Brittany Ritter, baby daddy, PJ Washington. All right, PJ Washington. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Brandon Miller, the rook from Alabama. I want to see what he does, but he's going to be a rookie. I wouldn't expect much out of there. Miles Bridges. Is he back? Did they give him a contract? All right, Miles Bridges. All right, yeah. That's a no. See what you want to see is you want to see some veterans. He said LaMelo distracted with the hose. Yes, he is, man. You want to see some. They got just too many distractions. I mean, sorry, they don't have any veterans over there. Anytime you want to see, and then Brandon Miller's their guy. He's distracted. They're trying to sue him. They got Gordon Hayward.
Right. Gotta get my bag and run.
Gordon Hayward is still snatching money from people. $31 million. In fact, Gordon Hayward is the highest paid player. Gordon Hayward is the highest paid player on the Charlotte Hornets. Damn. Nah, that ain't gonna cut it. Gordon Hayward's the highest paid player on your team, your squad. Damn.
Gotta get my bag and run.
All right. I'll get to that super chat in a minute. What do we got here? Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz could be a solid team. They're going to be solid. They're always going to be competitive, but I don't want to see them ultra competitive. If you're a Jazz fan, you don't want to see them competing early on. You want to see them coming up late because they've had many, many seasons where they started off hot and then they fell all the way deep down to the bottom there. Your best player over there, you got Jordan Clarkson over here. Okay. All right. Who else you got? Who's their number 1? All right. Colin Sexton is their other player in the backcourt. Who else does Jazz got? Oh, forget it. Jesus. All right, they got THT. Oh my Lord, this roster is horrible. All right. Oh, they got oh, okay. Wait a minute. I don't see him on the roster though. Oh, there he is right there. Is it Laurie McKinnon? I can't pronounce his name. Markinen. He's a good player. That's their power forward. This team is very Utah Jazz built. Right? This is a very Utah Jazz built team. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of light skin. It's a lot of light skinned people on that team. And if you know, I lived in Salt Lake City. They got Kelly Olynyk. I lived in Salt Lake City, and I used to go to Jazz games when I was there. Very, very loud arena. It's a great arena to go. Great fan base. As you know, the Utah people is a certain demographic racially. And if you don't know, their basketball team tends to look like, you know what I mean? They, you know, if one time they had the one dude with the Abraham Lincoln dollar bill tattooed on his neck, but they typically don't do that. Remember, some of their best players have been light skinned or all white, like AK-47. You know what I mean? What's his name? AK-47, the Russian player. They had John Stockton. They had even a point guard for Illinois was over there. You know what I mean? They don't really be having no Doug ballers. Darren Williams, D Will. Yeah, D Will. They had D Will. Yeah, Andre Karolinko, AK-47, I call him. Yeah, man, they've always had a team that you can, you know, Greg Ostertag. And their team looks like that right now. You know what I mean? They got a whole bunch of fan favorites over there. Family. They're a family franchise. So anyway, yeah, Karl Malone was the only exception, and he ended up being the second leading scorer in the NBA history up until LeBron broke the record. So Karl Malone was a good old boy. And never meet. Why are we talking about this? All right, Utah Jazz gone. San Antonio Spurs out of there. I know you guys are excited about the Spurs this year. I'm excited to see what Wembanyama can do this year, and he's going to do well. The only thing I'm worried about is his body. It's got to get strong. He's got to get something going on with that body. He's got to get, yeah, Deshaun Stevenson was that guy. Yeah. I think Wembanyama, he's going to be a fantastic player. I see tremendous upside in him. He could be one of the greatest players in all time, but he's just not ready to go through a season. He's not ready to go through a season. Not at this level yet. And he's only 19 years old. Yeah. He's only 19. He's tremendously talented. And could they get to the playoff? I don't expect the championship out of him. I mean, I don't know. If you're pushing for a championship, I think you're missing out on 4 championships later on. Because if you want him to get a title now, he won't get the 4 that he deserves. And yeah, he's got What about Greg Popovich? He is one of the luckiest guys. He's one of the luckiest coaches since Phil Jackson. All right, so the Spurs will be good in a couple of years. They got to build some talent around. Now that they got the key piece, they can build some talent around him because this roster right now is not going to get it. But they can go get some international players and get some players to build around him. And they're going to be good down the line. And then you know what's going to happen? They're going to attract a veteran or two or a veteran minimum guy, a shooter. You know, they'll build like the Miami Heat did with around LeBron James. Then, you know, because when you add LeBron, then you can add some 2 cornerstones. Then you'll get people to want to play. Then you'll get a Ray Allen. Then you'll get a Mike Miller. Then you'll get a Shaquille. You know what I mean? You'll get some pieces. That's how you build. So they'll get some 2 cornerstones around them. Then they'll get a couple of veterans that'll come over and play for a little bit of money. And then they'll boom. So that's what it is. Yeah, one more draft. They get another draft. They'll get a guy out, international guy. Yeah, they gotta get a PG. So Spurs ain't ready yet. All right, that's my opinion. And then the Orlando Magic, another young team that is probably going to do something in the future. They got some great pieces around there, but they're still just too young, in my opinion, to make a run. Let me answer that super chat. How about that? Yeah, they'll get a Draymond, something like that, a scrappy play. Yeah, they need a rebounder. You know what they need? An enforcer. They need an enforcer around him to protect him. They need like a Draymond. They need a person like a Dennis Rodman or a what's the guy's name? He played for the New York Knicks and the Chicago Bulls. He was an enforcer. He made sure people didn't mess with Michael Jordan. He made sure people didn't mess with Patrick Ewing. Yeah, they need a Kevin Garnett, a Ben Wallace, a Garnett. What's the guy? My name slips his name slips my mind. Yeah, Anthony Mason, but Charles Oakley. They need a Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Dennis Rodman. They need an enforcer. And so, yeah, somebody, old veteran enforcer. He can barely move, but if you treat the guy wrong, they'll elbow you. Yeah, he said a real ninja. Because you need all those pieces. You can't have all these tippy-toe guys running around the court trying to be pretty. All right, you need a goon. Yeah, you need a goon. All right, they need a goon. All right, so what are we going here? We're going to do pretenders and then championship contenders. We got McKinnon says CGA. Who is better, Kobe or LeBron? Okay, we're starting to piss people off here. Rasheed Wallace. Yes, they need a Rasheed Wallace. So you want me to piss people off already? Kobe or LeBron? Better as what? Better in what? What do you mean better? Better player or better career? Better player or better career? I think my answer would probably be the same. Better player or better career? You don't have to super chat it. I think LeBron's going to have the better career. LeBron's going to have the better career. Now, people are going to say championships and all of that. I think you can throw that argument out. He's going to have the better career on paper. And I think mostly because the media loves him and they'll manufacture his career better. He's an all-time leading scorer. All right, he has probably the most playoff games ever played, if I'm not mistaken. He's always constantly in the playoffs. I think he might have the most NBA championship appearances. And he might be up there because Kobe has 5. LeBron has 5. So statistically, legacy-wise, it's going to be LeBron. In my opinion, Kobe was he petrified me. He has 4 championships, so he won't catch up. All right, he won't catch him. So LeBron's going to have the better career. But Kobe, to me, was a better player than LeBron. Although LeBron is a gifted athlete. I did see him in person when he came in Vegas a couple times, and he's a physical freak of nature, and he's playing at top level towards the end of his career. But I think the better player is Kobe, because when it came down to moments in games, this is how I evaluate the player. I don't care what you do in the first and third quarter. I really don't care what you do in a blowout. I really don't care what you do in the open court dunking. When the game is tight, when the game is cinched, when it's time to get a bucket, when it's time to, oh no, I don't want the ball in this player's hand. These are the players that I rank as the top. Clutch, right, in the moment. These are the things that can finish, make good decisions at the end of the games. Exciting to watch. These are my, even when I look at Larry Bird was another player that when the ball was near him and the clock was going down, it was like, oh damn, oh hell. I'm trying to censor myself for my channel. So Larry Bird was one of those players. Magic is another player. Michael Jordan is another player. Kobe is another player. So for the old school, those players were like, oh man, right? The beast. Yeah, Luka, Steph Curry, these players at the end of the game, even some, I would say kind of Clay. These are the players that I go, wow, these guys can do some incredible things. It's similar to in football, John Elway was like that, where John Elway probably won't be considered top 10. It will be debatable if he's a top 10 player ever. But John Elway's entire career was like, oh, hell. That's kind of what it was. And of course, he played my Raiders all the time. So John Elway was one of those players, like, you just didn't want him to have the ball. You know what I mean? Like, if he had the ball in 30 seconds, John Elway could make something happen. Is he the best player of all time? You know, that's kind of one of those things. Yeah, Peyton Manning, he gets the ball. You're like, that's too much time. It's like 28 seconds. You're like, it's too much time. Aaron Rodgers is like that for the most part. These players, you give them too much time. Like, you can score and it's 50 seconds left and you think the game is over and it's not. And I think Kobe was like that. And I don't think LeBron is like that. LeBron is not like that at all. I think LeBron is a different player. So that's my answer. Yeah. That's my answer. Clutch players is who I revere. Brandon says, Coach, what's your take on the best team in the East? Just as how they sit now, the Bucks or the Celtics? Well, that'll give away my answer. But thank you for the super chat. That's going to give away my answer. And I hope you guys aren't. Are you cash apping me? Yeah, somebody did. All right, what do we got here? I guess you guys did during the show. Somebody says here. Is this earlier? This today? He says, Coach, you could create a sports with CGA channel from scratch. Well, I just started a channel from scratch. I just had to redo CGA sports from scratch, meaning 0 watch hours, 0 everything, only for it to get torpedoed. Right? So, it says right here, I can build it independent from the others. Well, the thing is, there's stuff I had to do on the background, and there's something that I had to do that I had to. It's a long story, but if you know, you know. But no, it's hard to do it, man. So it's hard, like you're doing it. It took me 6 weeks to get CGA Sports monetized. So it's just too much of a process. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. But anyway, it's exhausting to keep doing this over and over again and building up channels and then, you know, having to do this and deal with these situations here. So I'd just rather take a channel that's already kind of there and moving forward, because I can always change the channel. But anyway, it's exhausting. All right. But anyway, let's get back to it. Let's get back to the pretenders, the teams that people think are going to contend for championships, but they're not even going to be close. These are all your playoff teams, some of your playing games, but these fan bases believe that these teams are going to compete. Yeah, I heard about that, man. So by so-and-so losing their channel. All right, and so here it is right here. These are the pretenders. These are the ones these players they got players, they're stacked, but they ain't going to do jack out here. They're going to do nothing. All right, we got the Los Angeles Clippers. Hey, listen, man, they haven't done anything yet. They ain't never going to do anything with that team. They ain't never going to do anything with that team. Tyronn Lue, I would say he's not, people he's the best game strategy coach. I don't see it. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George play lethargic, effortless basketball. So they look like they're not doing much. They are doing something, but at the end of the day, they can almost not be doing it and it won't matter. Right? So then you got them taking games off. Then you got them, they don't care about the rules. They don't care about primetime games. They don't care about showing up. They really don't care. I think they only played last year out of 80-something games. They only played 32 games together. Only 32 games together, if I'm not mistaken. It was something like that. 32 out of 82 games, they were on the floor at the same time. So you got that going on. And their surrounding parts, their big men in the middle are really not dependable guys. So really those guys are taking all the money and all of the effort, and you need them on the floor. I do like Russell Westbrook with this team, though. I do like Russell Westbrook with this team, but this team has what it takes to make a playoff run. Potentially, if the matchups work, they can get to the Western Conference Final, but that'll be it. I think that's where their limits are. He says low management gonna cost him a bag. They play 40 games together. Yeah, 40 out of 82. Forget about it. So even with Kawhi being injured, I just don't see them making it very far. And they did make it to the Western Finals, I believe, a couple of years ago. But of course, Kawhi got hurt in the previous championship round, and so they didn't have him. I thought they could have went to the finals that year, but they're getting about old. Getting about old. Golden State Warriors, just the old team. Old team. They got rid of Jordan Poole, sent them to Washington. He's gonna just over there just disappear off the map, off the NBA map. A lot of old players. They got Chris Paul. I don't see that turning them around. Chris Paul's just politicking for a ring at this point. And this is his best chance to get a ring. And this is it for Chris Paul. And what else do they got? They got that old standard Dre and Clay. But after that, they fall off a cliff. Everybody's about figured them out. So they'll make the playoffs. They won't do anything. They'll get bounced. Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks. Right. Here we go right here. Dallas Mavericks, you guys got Kyrie. You got Luka. Did they pick up some other pieces to surround Kyrie and Luka? Let me see if they picked them up. Let me look at what they got going on over here, because I don't see much depth of that team right there. So let's see here. I got Seth Curry, Luka. They got Tim Hardaway Jr. still. Okay. All right. Kyrie. Nah, it's a wrap. That team is going to be lucky to make it to the playoffs. I mean, and they'll make the playoffs. They'll make the playoffs, but that's not it. There's nothing going to happen there. You got the Los Angeles Lakers. No, I saw them in person. They don't have any depth. Their big three is going to be AD, LeBron, and it's also going to be the white kid who's a good player, and he's a taller athlete than I thought. Seeing him in person, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, definitely, he's a tall athlete. Austin is his name. I believe his name is Austin. Me with names. I don't remember names very well. But what's his name? Austin Reeves. That's their big three. And so obviously they have D'Angelo Russell. He's a good player. He's a good player. He seems kind of unfocused at times. He can kind of get it together. But after that, oh, you know who they have? They have Hachimura. All right, so he's good. He's fantastic, by the way. I don't think he's a Laker, though. I don't think he's a Laker. I don't think he fits on this roster. I think he could be better on another team. And Christian Woods, yeah, I mean, he's an undersized forward. I mean, I don't know what I don't know what you want him to do. I don't know what do you want him to do? We going to the playoffs? We going to the playoffs on Christian Wood in the middle, backing up AD. You know, AD's going to play 50 games. Christian Wood's going to back him up. I don't know, man. I just think it's right. I just think that's not going to be your squad right here. Christian Wood is solid. I saw him play, and I was like, yeah, he's solid. He makes $2 million. What is he making? The league minimum over there? So you already know what that means. They don't have a big. They have Jackson Hayes. He's thin. He's a thin guy. This team is a mess. Hey, they're done. Lakers are done. If they finish in the top 8, I'll be shocked. All right, other than that, Sacramento Kings, they had a great season last year, if I'm not mistaken. They came along very well and got bounced. They didn't even make it to the very Sacramento Kings of them. They went in there and played their heart out. I have to censor. The Kings played their heart out all season long. They played the regular season as if it was the dang NBA final play-in tournament. And then got they tails bounced all over the damn playoffs. It was a despicable display. And now they got to repeat that effort. See, what they're going to learn? What they're going to learn is that they can't play like that all year. They can't play like that, right? They can't play like that. They can't play to win 60 games and they get bounced. So they got to learn how to pace themselves, peak at the right time. They peaked earlier in the season. They held on to a lead, tried to get a division title. They came out there, got bounced. So hopefully they can put something together now. They're going to be a playoff team, though. They'll be a playoff team if they stay healthy. Indiana Pacers, I saw them. They're solid. I think the Pacers are solid, but they're not going to do anything. They'll play Pacer ball. Chicago Bulls, they'll make the playoffs. Cleveland Cavs, they'll make the playoffs. The New York Knicks, let's talk about the New York Knickerbockers. All right, people want this team so bad to go to the Eastern Conference Finals this year. They're like, it's Eastern Conference Final or bust. And I'm going to tell you, this is a good team. They could make the Eastern Conference Finals. They barely almost made it. They barely got out into the second round. They barely got into the second round. They needed 5 games to beat somebody to get into the second round. Well, let me tell you, man. Let me tell you. The Knicks, or the Knicks as I call them, they ain't gonna do it. They don't have the squad to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, if they happen to sneak in or back into the finals, Eastern Conference Finals, they gonna get swept. Because you got to beat the the Bucks and the Celtics. Let me look at the Knicks. They got a decent roster. They just don't have a veteran. I know they don't have the veteran that they need. I like some of their pieces. And to be honest with you, Randall, he just he's a good player. He just kind of does too much. He doesn't do what he needs to do. He's solid, but what the problem is, I think they need him down low. You know what I mean? Need him down low, get that shoulder, boom, boom, give him a little bit of that. But then next time I see him, he get a rebound, he taking it coast to coast. I'm like, bruh, man, outlet the ball, run the lane, give me a rim run, post up. All right. So, yeah, he too small ball. I'm like, bruh, like, look, pick a struggle. What we gonna do? You gonna be a slasher? You gonna be a back to the basket? You gonna be a bully? You gonna take it coast to coast? Like, what we doing? And then he get to the rim, he get all clumsy. You know what I mean? It's like all like, then he like pit, fade up. Like, come on, man. Like, pick one lane. Let Brunson do what he does. Let Mitchell Robinson do what he does. Let Josh Hart do what he does. All right. Let Jalen Brunson do what he does. Let RJ Barrett do what he does. You're doing too much. He a finisher that can't finish. He always never finishing at the basket. Every time I look at him, I'm like, anyway, Brunson's like, man, outlet. Give me that outlet. Push the ball. Run the lane. But nah. Anyway. New York Knicks knocked out second round if they're lucky. All right, let me get to the finals here. Contenders, these are your championship contenders right here. Miami Heat, the only reason I got them up there is you can't count them out. Jimmy Butler is a gangster. Every time you count the Miami Heat out, here comes Jimmy Butler with the bangangs this year. I hope he don't have the bangangs. I hope he actually washes his hair pretty soon and wash that perm out. So these are your contenders. Miami Heat. I got the 76ers up there because the NBA wants them so bad to be contenders. They actually just feeding them players, and they can't even work it out. James Harden doesn't even want to play because they signed. It sounds like nobody's saying why James Harden doesn't want to play, but I actually figured it out. He doesn't want to play because they brought in Kelly Oubre, and Oubre allegedly, this is all alleged, by the way, the Kelly Oubre allegedly is dating James Harden's former girlfriend. And James Harden took a little bit of, he didn't like that. Yeah, Daryl Morey brought him in. And I think James Harden, because they were Houston together. And so they were cool. He got the Philly. He got him out of Brooklyn. He got the Philly. And then I guess something fell apart. And then Daryl Morey said, I'm going to tell you what I need to do. And then Daryl Morey signed Kelly Oubre as a slap in the face. Slap. And I think that's what it is. Because really, if you look at the media, nobody's saying what it is. Nobody's telling why. It just doesn't make sense. Everybody's like, why doesn't he want to play? And he's like, well, I don't trust him. And it's things and respect. Okay, why? Why don't you? What is the reason why? And he's sitting on and saying, I'm not going to come. I'm going to miss the flight. I think what it is that I think that's the issue. Kelly Oubre took his woman, right? Did he marry her? It was that's what they were saying. That was the rumor. All of this is alleged, by the way. All of this is alleged. All right. So anyway, he said his mama was sick. Okay, maybe it was something else. I don't know. Nah, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it because they're finding him. They're finding him games right now. So let me see here. They're finding him games. So it ain't about his mama. It ain't about his mama at all. Oh, man. Somebody's mentioning Matthew Perry died drowning accident. Damn. This is cold, man. Yeah. And he was, was he at his own house? He probably was at his own house looking at it right here. All right. And he's been on a lot of drugs lately. You know, he had a drug issue. Sad to hear, man. 54 years old. Hey, man, let me tell you, gentlemen, man, you got to really take this life seriously. Let's get back to the NBA. Boston Celtics. Hang on. I got something to mention about the Boston Celtics championship here. Milwaukee Bucks championship contender for sure. And you got the Phoenix Suns championship contender and the Denver Nuggets championship contender. Let's get down to the nitty gritty here and then give you the top teams and tell you why the other teams won't make it. I do have a drum roll effect over here. All right. Your NBA Finals. Denver Nuggets versus the Boston Celtics. Denver Nuggets versus the Boston Celtics right there. That's your NBA Finals. The championship goes through Denver. Now, it's going to be a low-viewed, low-rated championship. It's going to be boring, and the Denver Nuggets are boring. They're not an exciting team. They're not an exciting team to watch. They're very, very lethargic. Jokic is not the most exciting player. Neither are really any of their players exciting to watch. But until I see otherwise, Denver Nuggets are going to be your NBA champions again. Now, the Boston Celtics, this is the reason why I picked them out of the East. The Milwaukee Bucks right now are a good, solid team. They're going to be good. They're going to be good. Milwaukee Bucks are going to be good all year long. But you just can't add a player to a team that has really one good player and a couple of so-so players, and then you lose a couple of solid players. You just can't add Damian Lillard and expect to walk into the championship. I just don't see it right now. Maybe if there are lights out coming in, but you just lost one of your best players that was a pivotal player in your championship run, which is Drew Holiday. You lost that guy. Now, Damian Lillard is a better player than Drew. However, Drew Holiday's over in Boston now. And Boston's got some pieces. If you haven't seen Boston play, Boston's got some pieces. Then if they can keep healthy, I don't know who can match up with Boston in the East. The matchups are now. Here's the problem. This is the problem I see with Boston. This is the good things I see with Boston is obviously their roster is solid. They have a top four that rivals any team. I mean, what team has a better four players than Boston? Okay. All right. So I know let me deal with Boston. I'll deal with Milwaukee. All right. So let me see with Boston. So if you haven't seen Boston play, their toughest matchup is Porzingis. I know people are gonna laugh when I say Porzingis, but Porzingis creates a matchup problem. Now he's got to stay healthy, but the matchups on the floor is you got Drew Holiday on the floor, you got Porzingis on the floor, and then you got Tatum and Jaylen Brown on the floor. And then potentially you did lose Marcus Smart, which is a big loss to me. I don't know why you got rid of him, but that's a big loss. And Al Horford, is he still playing? That's a matchup nightmare if you get down there to the playoffs. If you get down. So they are lacking some size, but I don't think you get, because Porzingis goes inside and out. That's going to be problems, and he's got to make it. He's got to make all the way to the playoffs. If he makes it to the playoffs, I think Boston's going to be pretty solid. All right, but anyway. Nobody has Boston. Milwaukee, though. Milwaukee. You got Middleton. You have Middleton, solid player. And he was hurt. Wasn't he hurt last year? I think he got hurt last year in the playoffs. Or somewhere in the playoffs. Let me pull up the Bucks roster and see what's up here. See if I want to make this solid pick with the Celtics. And I don't like the way I don't like the decision making of Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum. I don't like their decision making. They always seem to not be able to pull through. But I think Drew Holiday with the ball in the hands could actually be interesting. Okay. All right. So Milwaukee Bucks. Let's pull up their roster here. All right. Middleton's already out. So you got you got Giannis. You got Malik Beasley. Okay. Jay Crowder's on the squad. Okay. Was he on there last year? You got the Lopez bros. They're not going to do much but bully people. They're good. They're going to be great in the playoffs, even just having one of them. Middleton, Bobby Portis, he's good for a technical foul at the wrong time and a couple of rebounds. And Damian Lillard. Yeah. Yeah, they got Jay Crowder, too. No, Toronto's out. Toronto's out. So, yeah, man, these both teams, this is your Eastern Conference final, by the way. Eastern Conference Finals. And it could go 7 games. This one could go 7 games. But I got Boston sneaking by. But if they don't, Milwaukee's a good entry right there. It could be Bucks Nuggets. Milwaukee's going to be tough. I think any of these teams are going to be tough. Phoenix, too. What about Phoenix Suns? I think they're just too small. But Phoenix, I don't see them decision-making down the end of the stretch. I see them getting knocked out, bounced. I see Phoenix getting bounced. They're going to be solid, but they don't have the type of team that I look at and go, oh, this team's going to run the table. I got Denver being physically and mentally better than the Phoenix Suns. All right, so Phoenix so I got Denver and Boston. What y'all got? All right, you know what? Let me put a poll up before we do this. Let's have the audience speak on this. All right, so we'll put the final 4 teams as we got Boston and Milwaukee, Phoenix, and the Nuggets as our final 4 teams. So we'll have a poll. That's what we'll do, and we'll do it live. All right, NBA champions 2023. All right, let's see here. 2023-24. And your boy Dame Lillard got to pay child support, so that might happen too. All right, so we'll put Boston, Celtics. I don't even know why I always have to type it out. Milwaukee Bucks. Now you guys are choosing the Bucks, man. What team has ever added a player and won off the first year? I mean, I'm sure there is a team, but what team has ever done that? The Celtics? Kevin Garnett? All right, hold on for a second. What am I doing? Phoenix Suns, Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets. Yeah, what team has ever added a player and won the first year? Like that. I think I want to say, he says I'm a home strategist. Kawhi Leonard, was that his first year? Might be true. Kawhi Leonard, was that his first year? Golden State when they added Durant. I don't even count Durant's championships over there, to be honest. I don't count their championships. I mean, I count them, but I don't count that addition because they were already champions before they added them, so I don't count it. The Raptors would be 1. Let's see here. Who do we got? Who is the other one that might have won? Yeah, there's not many other teams that can say, oh, they added a player and then they won right off of the player. All right, what are we doing here? The Bucks with Kareem. Yeah. No, I think Kareem was already in a couple of years already. Kareem was already in. Chicago Bulls. No, Scotty wasn't a rookie, I don't think. Was he? He wasn't a rookie. Who to Miami? Who's to Miami? Shaq? Oh, Shaq to Miami. Okay, Shaq to Miami. Did they win it the first year? Could have. No, not Kobe. Magic. Yeah, Magic probably. Yeah, Magic with the Lakers. They added him with Kareem. LeBron lost in the finals to the first year to the Spurs. Yao Ming has never won it. All right. Now, Yao Ming has never won it. But LeBron and the Heat lost to the Spurs the first year. And then they won it the year 2, 3, and 4. And then lost in the finals year 5. The Heat with Shaq. Was that the first year with Shaquille O'Neal? KG won when he went to the Celtics. I think they won in the first year. Yeah, so it's very rare that you get a team, especially a guard, a point guard, come in and then they just win a championship. And you will say this, Anthony Davis to the Lakers. Are we counting that? Pau Gasol to the Lakers. I'll count that. The Knicks with Earl the Pearl. AD, are we counting the bubble title? Are we doing this today? I'm not counting the bubble title. They literally played that championship for the Lakers. They started the season. Remember, they canceled the season? This is my opinion of the bubble title. They canceled the season. Then they started it back up because they knew the Lakers were going to win. The Lakers were going to win. They just added AD. So they was like, we're not going to waste a year. And then what happened was teams didn't even come back and play. They was like, we ain't even going to come. Look it up. Look it up. They literally started it back up for the Lakers to win. They did. And this is my opinion. Because not even the whole league played back when they came back. They were like, there were certain players like, I ain't even going to play. All right, so certain teams didn't even play with their entire roster. Then they forced them to play. Then they had the whole bubble, the bubble playoffs. Then they had the whole thing with the fans and this is a disaster. No, I'm not counting the bubble title. I'm not counting the bubble title. How many teams? Yeah, I think Kyrie didn't even play. He was like, forget it. It still counts, though. All right, Lakers. I grew up a Lakers fan, so when I was a youngster, the Showtime Lakers was my squad. But I'm not counting LeBron's bubble title because you didn't have home court advantage. There was just too many ridiculous things that was happening for me to count the bubble title. So I'm just going to say no on the bubble. Nope. Like, they don't even brag about it. AD doesn't even brag. You know, I got a championship ring. He don't even brag about it. All right, LeBron fans are pissed. What do we got here? Somebody said then if that doesn't count, then the 2001 Lakers don't count. Why? Because of the referee? The referee cheated the Sacramento Kings. Is that why? I agree. The Sacramento Kings got robbed. All right, anyway. We got the Denver Nuggets, according to the poll, Denver Nuggets repeating as champions with the Milwaukee Bucks in the East getting the most votes. Phoenix Suns beating, okay, you're not going with Boston. Nobody's going to the Boston Celtics. Yeah. Is it Donahue? He's actually getting interviewed by Vlad TV. Dude, the Sacramento King, you know who got robbed? Speaking of getting robbed here, the Kings got robbed and the Portland Trailblazers got robbed on the Lakers run. They got robbed of a championship round. So the Trail Gangsters with Scottie Pippen, Who did they have? They had Scottie Pippen. They had did they have Rasheed Wallace? I think whoever that team was, they got robbed. They got absolutely robbed. The Jailblazers, the Trail Gangsters. Bonzi, well, that team would have won the NBA final that year. All right, they got absolutely just knifed in the back. I mean, the robbery was out of control. They got robbed. So we should come up with the teams that got robbed. I should make some videos, teams that got robbed. And then the Sacramento Kings with Chris Webber, Vlade, Mike Bibby, White Chocolate, and was it Sabonis? No, Sabonis was on the Blazers. They got robbed too. They definitely got robbed out of a championship. So all the Laker fans, they don't care. They got robbed. So anyway, that was the same year. Yeah, man. Oh man, that was cold-blooded out there. They was doing the Lakers. Lakers again. Yeah, Bibby and Weber, Chris Webber was on the squad. That whole team got robbed. So anyway, do I think the NBA draft lottery is rigged? Well, new world order. Let's see here. Yeah, Warriors got robbed. Yeah, I gotta do a video on teams that got robbed. Because they was gonna win it, and then Draymond got suspended for Game 5. And then they came back 3-1, came back and won it. Yeah. Let me see here. Do I think the draft lottery is rigged? Well, there's evidence of it because I was gonna tell you because I'm going an hour. Oh, I went over an hour, but I'll tell you. A couple times I thought it was favorable to some teams that it doesn't make sense. The San Antonio Spurs getting the number 1 pick was interesting. That actually made Greg Popovich the greatest coach of all time, one of the greatest coaches of all time. All right, so that's one of the issues there. So Greg Popovich takes over. He wins a strike NBA championship. They tank the next year, and then the next year they get Tim Duncan. And that turns Rick Pitino into one of the worst coaches in NBA history.
Larry Bird's not walking through that door, fans. Kevin McHale's not walking through that door, and Robert Parrish is not walking through that door. And if you expect them to walk through the door, they're going to be gray and old.
So the Spurs actually the Spurs end up, they tanked, but then they came into the next season, and they were a decent team. I think they almost were a playoff team, but they had the least chance of getting the number 1 pick, and they got it. All right, but Rick Pitino left Kentucky to go to Boston. Boston had the most odds to get the number 1 pick, and they got the 4th pick. So Greg Popovich became greatest coach of all time through the NBA draft lottery. Okay. Then if you think of should Cleveland go and get LeBron, what are the odds Cleveland gets the LeBron pick? What are the odds New York gets the Patrick Ewing pick? I mean, some of these things are somewhat comical when you look at it. But I like the draft lottery. I like the draft lottery if it's legit because people can't tank. Because if you tank, I think Boston Celtics were tanking. And then Rick Pitino came to the Celtics just because they were going to get a best chance at Tim Duncan. That's why he took the job. Instead, he had to draft his former basketball player from Kentucky. So, yeah, Bull getting D. Rose, who was from Chicago. Like, some of these things are awkward. Some of these things are like by chance. You just can't believe it sometimes. And then some teams getting back-to-back number 1 picks. I think there were some other ones that were interesting. Cleveland then getting another one to get the UNLV player. Yeah, Cleveland didn't get the number 1 pick to get the kid from UNLV, which that draft was completely weak. But then they got LeBron, and I think they end up getting the number 1 pick again. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell's going on? So draft lottery, do I think it's rigged? You know, I don't have any evidence, but some of these things have been absolutely just some great stories. Oh, they got Kyrie. Sorry, I'm tripping. So they did kick Kyrie. I'm tripping. So they get LeBron and then Kyrie. They get LeBron and then Kyrie. Like, come on, man. Like, see, these things are interesting. And I think what happened was LeBron left. I think Cleveland got the number 1 pick again. I might have it wrong. So LeBron leaves and then Cleveland gets the number 1 again, if I'm not tripping. So wait, they rewarded. How do you work that out? That might have been, I might be wrong about that. But look it up. Right here. And somebody said, I knew the Spurs would get it with Wemby. Exactly. So some of these teams you cannot send Wembanyama to. Anthony Bennett was the guy. So yeah, but you want to put Popovich with Wemby? But you put Wemby in Portland, he becomes another Bill Walton. He becomes another the guy that they drafted ahead of Jordan. Slips my mind. So you can't put Wembanyama in Portland. Everybody, he becomes another Greg Oden. And then you're going, holy shit. You're right. You can't put Wemby over there. If Wemby went to Portland, everybody would have lost it. They'd be like, oh, hell. Sam Bowie, number 5. He'd have been Greg Oden, number 2. So you can't put him over there. So if you want to kind of finagle it and whatnot, you would have to finagle it. Because otherwise, in my opinion, Jesse Ventura once said, with sports has to be what they call a work. Sometimes it has to be a work. Because his point was, you cannot let millions and billions of dollars be dependent on 19 to 25-year-old, mostly inner city men. You cannot give them that amount of control. Because if you do give them that amount of control, you can't let that control millions and billions of dollars. There's no way. So some things have to be massaged a little bit. Because if you do, you have more Kwame Browns and you have potentially franchises losing for decades because of one bad pick. Then so you got to finesse it and move things around. Anyway. Draft lottery started, I think before. No. It did start at 1 year after Jordan. Yeah, it did start after Jordan. So there was no draft lottery before Jordan. If I'm not mistaken, he was the 84 class. 84. Then they did Patrick Ewing. If I'm not mistaken, that's it. Yeah, that's what it sounds like there. But so there has to be a little bit of massaging in sports, in my opinion. And when you start doing things like gambling, you figure it out real fast. All right. There are some people that make some things happen. Some calls are made. We got the over. I might have to do a thing on point shaving as well, because I find point shaving interesting. I find it to be an interesting concept. So I got to do some stuff on that one right there. He says you can't let a head case like Ja Morant control your franchise. Indeed. And in fact, take a look. He's doing it. Yeah, NFL too. There's a lot of weird things that happen. But listen, sports is interesting. I'm going to get out of here, man. Shout out to y'all. Denver Nuggets, NBA champions. We'll see what happens with the rest. Shout out to y'all. Oh, we got the Milwaukee Bucks sneak in there with the poll. Milwaukee Bucks, NBA champions. All right. Shout out to the Coach Gang. And we out of here, brothers. Thanks. Oh, we got Dragon says Suns got a guard that's on prime Kobe level now. They are final bound, Coach. Nuggets ain't repeating. What player is that? Hold on for a second. What player is that? Who? D-Book? You saying D-Book is NBA level, Kobe level? Hold up.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
All right, I love it, man. All right, man. Look, we out of here. Peace.